Hello everyone, how we all doing? I hope you are all saying your prayers and taking your vitamins, brother. Or if you're not particularly religious, I hope you are at least drinking your milk and you have your own free eyes. Mine are integrity, intolerance to milk, I think, and indecisiveness. This video has been in the works for a while. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot of views on my previous wrestling vids and I thought, why not drop another wrestling prediction video, which might indeed predict future events in wrestling. Hi Colt Cabana, how indeed are you doing? Please note, this was completed before the 3rd of March edition of SmackDown, so it will be interesting to see whether or not any new storylines or feuds begin or progress was done on that show. Hopefully this doesn't come out after Raw, fingers crossed. Anyway, with the logistics firmly out the way, let's get into the list, shall we? My name is CM-GRUNT, aka the Children Medal Guy, and here are 10 potential matches they could do at WrestleMania 39. Honorable mentions. Some of these I wanted to add onto the list, but I didn't because most, if not all of these, either are a formality or locked in. So here they are: Roman versus Cody, Bianca Belair versus Asuka, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins, John Cena versus Austin Theory, and Edge versus Finn Balor. But the main honorable mention, and the one I really wanted to add to this list, is Jay White's surprise match. I feel like Jay White is coming to WWE, but I feel he's either coming at the Raw after WrestleMania, or if we have someone fighting to be on the WrestleMania card a la Seth Rollins last year, maybe someone like AJ Styles, I think he could be the surprise opponent. Why not hit the like and subscribe button and I can do more lists like this. Okay, onto the list. Number 10, the return of Naomi. I've been shouting this from the rooftops since before the Royal Rumble that she will return. My hope is she would return, get a rebrand or an AA, an actual adjustment if you like, I don't know, as part of the Bloodline, and go for the women's title to have some more gold in that faction. But now, I'd rather she didn't join up with them because I feel that the Bloodline may be on its way out real soon and I don't want her joining the sinking ship. However, I still see a return in her immediate future, and what better place for her to do that than at WrestleMania. They can do a similar deal that they did with Cody's return last year and Seth trying to get a match. Have a woman complaining that they don't have a WrestleMania match. Unfortunately, there's not that many rivalries in the women's division outside of the titles, so there are many women that if they don't have a title match, don't look like they're going to be on the WrestleMania card. And I may or may not have a video coming out soon that is linked to women not having a match on the card. Stay tuned for that. Someone like Carmella or Chelsea Green, a storyline where they are moaning about not having a match or not being on the card fits their character perfectly, especially Chelsea Green with her Karen character. Then Naomi's music plays and everyone can feel the glow. Or better yet, let Sonya Deville whine about being underappreciated and overlooked. No one gave her a match and there's not a woman backstage willing to fight her. Out comes Naomi to finally get proper retribution for all the nonsense she went through at the hands of Deville. I've made it no secret in my last videos how I felt about that storyline and WWE letting Ronda get revenge Naomi should have had. So it will be nice that they could put an exclamation point on that. Do the right thing, WWE. If you bring her back, just let her get her win back, man. She deserves to be one of the women in the title picture. Point is, there are many women who could face Naomi if she returns, and it will be a nice little pop to have Naomi return for a match at WrestleMania. Number 9, Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Gunther, or Sheamus or Drew McIntyre versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like they have been building to one of these matches for a while now, and the Banger Bros, do not type this in a Google search, just don't do it. Anyway, the Banger Bros have been fighting on and off with Imperium for months now, and once their little Viking experience has ended, I won't be shocked if they start to build towards a Gunther versus Sheamus or possibly a three-way with Drew McIntyre. It is well known and has been said constantly by WWE no less that the Intercontinental title is the only championship that Sheamus hasn't won and he really wants to win it. Gunther is on the run of his life and he has banger after banger with the Celtic Warrior, and with Sheamus teaming with Drew, you can just see them imploding and just having a fight, with Drew being included in the Intercontinental title match, where Gunther was supposedly going to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, now being curtailed by a possible underwhelming Brock Almost match. It opens up Gunther to a bunch of potential possible matches, one of which we will mention in a moment. And with the history Sheamus has with him and Drew currently teaming with him, this is a real possibility. I won't be shocked if Sheamus wins the match and there is a real feel-good moment at WrestleMania, but no thanks. Let Gunter get the win and go on a memorable run with the belt to overtake the Honky Tonk Man's record that needs to die. Sorry Honky Tonk fans. But as I said, there are many potential matches, such as number 8, Solo Sikoa versus Gunter. Remember that video I said may or may not be coming out soon about women who may not have a match on the WrestleMania card? Well, let's just say it's not just about women, and Solo Sikoa could be on it. Point is, Solo is in serious danger of not being on the WrestleMania card besides Bloodline shenanigans, and that would be criminal as he feels like one of the NXT call-ups done right. I have said over and over again that Solo has one of the best looks and presence I've seen in a long while. Why? Because not only is he a fusion of his badonkadonk of a father Rikishi and one of his twin Usos, Uso means brother, the more you know, but this very look has a lot of similarities of a certain late great Umaga. So the fact that Solo now has the Samoan spike as his finisher and not a variation of the angle slam, he feels like even more of a killer, which is beautiful and a lovely homage to the legacy of Eddie Fatu. So wouldn't it be nice to see the big meaty men slapping meat with Sakura facing Gunter for the Intercontinental title? Neither guy has a match yet or even started a build to a feud for WrestleMania, so why not do this match and put Solo's record of not being pinned or submitted on the main roster versus Gunter's great title reign? Problem is, someone has to lose, but that's not my problem. I just want to see the match. Give me what I want. Oh, hi Drax. How you doing? Number 7, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Quick mention to Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar versus Omos. I did start writing this before the 27th of February edition of Raw, and on that show they started and continued said build of Bobby versus Bray and Brock versus Omos, which was a match I did not think that WWE was going to go through with when MVP issued the challenge, but on we go. I was going to put Brock versus Gunter on this list as well, but despite the early reports, it seems that that's not happening anymore. And I've tried to add matches to this list that aren't already locked in and may not have started their build to a match yet. So instead of all that, I'm going to be going with the rematch of Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Bobbles Lashley and Rock B Esna L, to my knowledge, have had 3 matches and a collision at the Royal Rumble. A pinfall victory for each and a Rumble elimination and a crappy DQ win for Lashley, which technically puts him 2-1 up in the feud. But to end the feud on a DQ feels very anticlimactic, and I feel like the DQ was just a way to string this rivalry along till WrestleMania. From the looks of things, it looks like they have other plans, but honestly, who the hell wants to see Brock versus Omos? I don't think I want to see that kind of big meaty men slapping me, not gonna lie.
Big meaty men slapping me.
Number 6, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey versus the Women's Tag Champions. As mentioned in my previous videos, Ronda isn't on the best second run of her career, but she has said she wants to be involved in the tag division, and it seems like her and Shayna Baszler will at least be tagging in the near future. Shayna we have seen in the tag division, and I don't remember her being a tag champion. Feels like she had the belt of Nia Jax, but unless you are currently looking at pictures with them holding the titles on the screen, I have not gone back to check, simply because they haven't made me care about these belts, and so I, like many others, just aren't that invested. I think Sasha and Naomi might have had a point, you know guys, but if Ronda is in the tag division, I don't see her not being in the tag team title picture for too long. On top of that, I don't see her not being on that WrestleMania card, so what exactly does that mean? That Rousler, crap name I know, will possibly be having a title match at WrestleMania against whoever the tag team champs are. I started writing this before Monday's Raw, yes I said it already, and as usual plans had changed. I initially thought that they would be up against Damage Control, but again plans changed. So the question now is who? There just isn't any tag teams in this division besides Damage Control, just thrown together teams, and although it's possible that Becky and Lita will be the team that they go up against, don't be shocked if they lost the belts to a different team. I'm not even going to run through all the possible throwaway teams that could take the belts off them, but I do feel like Lynch and Lita will not be the champs going into WrestleMania, because one of the matches could be number 5. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, or Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus and Lita. Following on from the last entry, I don't think Becky and Lita will have the belts come WrestleMania, because there are 2 possible matches involving the champs that may not involve said belts. There were reports that Trish was supposed to be here and was backstage at the Canada shows, but didn't come out, as it would likely have resulted in her being cheered. She came out on Raw and helped Lynch and Lita win the titles, but maybe somewhere down the line turns on Becky and dash her WrestleMania match. Becky seeking revenge for the betrayal, John Wick style. Maybe she's jealous of the man, not that one, because she's teaming with her best friend, and maybe because she wanted to become champions herself, and maybe she wanted to be champions with Lita. Whatever the reason, this is the route that they could go down. However, there were other reports that they plan to go down the 6-way tag route, with Trish, Lita and Becky facing Damage Control. Although I expect that to be the case and the more likely option, I don't think that it should be having the belts involved, and I don't think any of the wrestlers involved should be holding them, as it once again devalues the belts. I think it will be the tag match, as you are in danger of not having Damage Control on the card. In regards to the actual match, Becky doesn't need the win, and the Legends certainly don't. So if this match does happen, the actual faction needs to win. Number 4, Dominic or Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. Another 2-way entry here, but hear me out on this one. After SmackDown, there was a video of Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio sharing a moment and showing respect to one another. With Hit Row turning heel, this basically turns Legado del Fantasma and Santos Escobar face, and after that interaction with Rey, he continues to show face tendencies. There is a lot of talk about respect, so here's a few pictures. What if he faces Rey as a show of respect, and they just have a respectful contest to see who the better man is, and Santos should win with Rey essentially passing the torch? Or similarly, Santos has a mean streak and is straight up heel and fights Rey Mysterio to give him the respect he deserves, although I don't agree with this one, as they have already acknowledged each other like their names are Roman Reigns or something. These are the routes that they can go down, but there was a brief moment that Rey had with his son, Mr. Condom Mysterio himself, which Santos stepped in and stood up for Rey, again talking about respect. So what if this results in a match between the two? Get Santos and Dom on the card, and the respect or lack thereof that Dom shows Rey could be the Jericho that rips the Mysterio mask and makes Rey change his stance and finally want to fight his son, maybe at SummerSlam. But honestly, I don't expect either of these matches to happen, because I think we will see number 3, Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio for the legacy and the mask. They have basically been building to this clash since Clash at the Castle. The Condom has been golding his dad hit him for months, which is yet to happen, and the only real comeuppance that he's had was that skit at the racetrack. That's it. This is not NASCAR or F1. They are not going up against Lewis Hamilton. This is WWE. This needs to be a wrestling match, guys. Now, sure, they were smart in how they decided to keep Rey and Dom apart, with Papa Mysterio hurt by Baby Mysterio and resulting in him ending up on a separate show. But Dom is associated with Judgment Day, and more appropriately, more accurately, Rhea Ripley. And as the winner of the Royal Rumble and the one challenging for the SmackDown Women's title, it gives him an excuse to be on SmackDown, his father's show. It's very convenient and coincidental that the timing is around WrestleMania season, and here we are. And Dom is at it again, trying to gold his pops into attacking him, whether it's using Santos Escobar as bait or doing something so despicable that Rey has no choice but to fight him. I don't know how much more Rey can take, to be honest, on top of Thanksgiving, Christmas and Valentine's Day and every other betrayal and attack that he's had. But I have no doubt in my mind this match will happen, just like number 2, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag team title belts, and it needs to main event WrestleMania Night 1. Do the right thing, WWE. Night 2 main event is a lock, let's be honest, unless WWE pull out one of his many tricks out of the magic hat they seem to have lying around. It will be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I'm sorry, Sami Zayn supporters or Zaynanites, moments like it's Kane from that great promo with The Rock and Hulk Hogan, but I think he's out on the cold in regards to the WWE title. But that's not the story that they're telling. They are telling the story of the rehabilitation of the best friends KO and Sami Zayn, with Jay's inner turmoil and how that leads to a title match at WrestleMania. Whether or not Sami and KO become best friends again, they will likely be on the same page in some way or another, but WWE love a will they coexist storyline. This is a main event storyline and it needs to be the main event of night one. I am pretty sure that one of the women's title matches will be front runner to main event night one, but Sami has been a needle mover over the past few months and a ratings drawer, so he deserves a main event. It feels like a CM Punk situation, but it would be nice to see a high profile spot for a tag team division for a change. This story, KO, Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, needs to have an exclamation point and a suitable finish. The main event of night 2 is a guarantee with Cody and Roman, unless number 1, Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal title. Well, this one seems way off the mark, but all the Sami Zayn supporters can dream, and so can I. I still feel that the tag team match is pretty much guaranteed, but that doesn't mean that he won't be inserted into the main event of night 2. It's possible Sami could do double duty or have to run some kind of gauntlet to be included into the title match. Sami is the most over thing in the company right now, hence why I said he must be inserted into the main event of night 1. But to be honest, it doesn't matter what night he main events. He has been amazing in the Bloodline storyline, and many people are saying that he should be the one to dethrone Roman and take that table he is the head of. Sorry, bad analogy. Point is, Sami has now had main event fire promos with Jimmy Uso, Paul Heyman, on his own with the crowd, and very importantly, he has had fire promos with Cody, and I think if this match happens, that will play a massive factor. Cody has a good storyline with Roman. Wrestling has more than one royal family. The Rhodes versus the Anoa'i family legacies, and Cody finishes his story of fulfilling his dream and gaining the one thing no one in his family was able to obtain. But people will argue that his storyline just isn't as emotional as Sami's. Now, don't get me wrong, there is emotion with Cody's storyline, but I think it's different to Sami's. Yes, I do think that Sami's has more of an emotional edge than Cody's, as it's been going on for longer and he feels more linked to the Bloodline. Now, I don't know how they will insert him into the match. The gauntlet and winning a series of matches seems like the possibility, but all three men deserve a main event spot in my opinion. Roman has been the main guy for years, in particular the last 3 years. Sami, as I've mentioned, is the most over in the company. It's the most over he's ever been and is getting ratings when his segments are on. And Cody now is a major draw and is also very over. He feels more of a megastar than anyone else on the roster not named Roman Reigns. And triple threat main events usually slap, women's title match aside. So we'll see if WWE greenlight this match. And that's the list. Do you have any other potential matches for WrestleMania that may be added to the card? Leave a comment and make sure you like and subscribe. Or get at me on all socials, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, and I also do live streaming both on here and on Twitch. Just search CM_GMR. Also, there will be many videos coming out leading up to WrestleMania, and I have a new series coming out soon called the W series, so keep an eye out for them. Check out my previous predictions, which should be on the screen now. Thank you for your time, and I will catch you in a bit.